Alrighty, this is going to be our final lesson that regards autopsy specifically, so I hope that you guys have been enjoying this or at least learning something. We're going to take a look at Craig's installed programs. One question I had about the last lesson personally is, well, how did we know that this guy used a password on the zip folder? One way we could have probably figured that out is if we looked up the error message. I'm sure that it would have come up with something that said, this zip file is password encoded or something along those lines, or Windows file zipping does not support this type of file or something like that, right? I'm curious, so I'm actually going to look it up. Error 0x. It's an unspecified error that usually appears as blah blah blah. Problems with the Windows update, moving or renaming files and folders. Problems opening or extracting compressed files and folders. So that was the problem we were having. Use a different unzip program if you see an error code when extracting or opening compressed files. Use a different extraction tool. That means to zip the folder, Craig probably had a different tool, an external tool, right? But why did 7-zip work specifically? So you may be asking how I knew that there was a password on the file. And basically, if I try to extract it without entering a password, it's going to come up with this and tell me to enter a password. That's how I knew. Thought I could clarify that. Anyway, so for me, the question then becomes, how do we know he used 7-zip, right? Why 7-zip? Could possibly work with a different type of extractor or encoding, but basically, my question would then be, how do we know that 7-zip is going to work? Well, if we check into the programs that Craig has installed, what we can look, one of the programs that Craig used keeps information, it's called WinZip, keeps information in ntuser.dat. So if we look at ntuser.dat with the registry explorer, it's going to come up with something like this when we navigate to this directory. And so under WinZip, there are several directories. Basically, he added a directory right here. He shows the location for the temporary files. So when a user opens a file in a zip, using WinZip, it will store in the temporary folder. So it's a good idea to check it just to see if there's anything that was still kind of open, basically. Anyway, you can look through this ntuser.dat and see that he used WinZip, and you can do the same thing in ntuser.dat and see that he also used WinRAR, likely for the RAR files he got, I believe, from 4chan. And then the other thing we're going to go over is the fact that we can look at the applications he had installed as well. So if we go to program files, these are all the applications on his computer. WinZip and WinRAR can be found here as well. So you know from this folder that he was using these folders or these programs as well. However, one thing to keep in mind is that you can change where things are installed. I, for one, have changed where my larger applications are installed because my computer's main hard disk only has so much space. But we can also see here that he used GIMP. And GIMP is a free photo editor. I use GIMP sometimes. It's more than a free photo editor, but for noobs, it's kind of a free photo editor. I am also a noob. So if we go to Craig's downloads really quickly, we can see that GIMP exe is actually in here as well. So is WinRAR and so is WinZip. So that's another way for us to see that he might have been using these folders or these files or these programs. That's the word, right? And so basically, what we can do is, since GIMP has a document history, it's something that's kind of unique to GIMP, and it's something that you kind of just have to know or find out. You can go to app data local, and you can check out in here, he should have recently used .xbel. So you can see that on here it seems that he's opened some hard drive or some coupons from an external hard drive, in this case that Kingston flash drive that we found earlier, or at least probably the Kingston flash drive, and that he's opened them in GIMP. Kind of interesting. And so also what we can go ahead and do to kind of like cross-reference a little bit is, although we don't have the hard drive, the external hard drive, and it's something that we should probably try to get, we can go back to my stuff, which is somewhere in here. So we can go to his my stuff, if you remember that from earlier. So if we sort by created time in my stuff, we can take a look at some specific coupons by the time, like they're going to be. So I sorted by created time by clicking on it, and we can look through these coupons here. Okay, till we get to the iced tea one. Interesting. So it was created at this time, okay? And so if we want to figure out whether those files were created on Craig's computer or if they were copied from another source, we can look at the created time. And so if we look at this file, or this file right here, there are other files with the exact same creation time right next to it. And these ones are probably pretty close. I mean, these ones don't have the same creation time, but they're also all at the same time. So to me, it looks like he probably copied them all off of a drive at the same time. And that's another thing we can figure out with the power of forensics. Anyway, we kind of discovered a lot of information about Craig, so the next step of the process would be to put together a case that you could present to whomever hired you or the court of law or whatnot, right? So, hopefully you enjoyed looking around for evidence in autopsy. I think it's really fun personally. We got a lot of information, some of it's jumbled, but now it's your turn to use that information to present a good case as to why or why not Craig has broken the law. And that's basically what autopsy is for. Autopsy is to help you gather evidence, and with that evidence you have to make a good case. So that's something we're going to be covering in one of our future videos, and I hope you enjoyed learning about autopsy. I certainly did. Thank you. Hey, if you liked that video, you should seriously consider checking out the California Cyber Innovation Challenge. It's a great opportunity to delve deeper into the world of cybersecurity. I know I have a lot of fun when I'm there. At the very least, you should sign up below to be on a mailing list that will let you know when more CCIC/Echelon Catapult videos will be coming out. Yeah.